let's do this first. So we'll get this out of the way. Because I want to kind of explain something and clarify something for people. I am concerned, my friends, that I have been misunderstood. Isn't that a song? Oh, Lord, don't let me be misunderstood. So, Mike Doyle, and hi, Mike, if you're listening. You know, Mike does call occasionally, and Mike, of course, you can hear him on the morning show, I think once a week, usually on Friday. He goes on the morning show with Peter White. And Mike he's got a great radio voice, and he's got some broadcasting experience. He used to do a local television show called After Further Review, a sports show. But, Mike's a MAGA guy, very pro-Trump, and he'll occasionally call the show. And, I like Mike very much personally, and he's very complimentary toward me. Usually at the end of the call, he'll say, great show as always, and stimulating and whatnot, which I appreciate. And that, let's be honest, I mean, I'm human, so obviously that is part of why I like Mike personally, because he says kind things to me. If he ended the call by saying, I hate you and I think you're a jerk, I'd probably like him less. Although I'd still like him. I have an axiom, not an acronym. I have an axiom that I sort of have always applied to this show, whether it be here at WMNH or back in 2011 when I first started it strictly as a podcast online. I always say, I'd rather be loved than hated, but I'd rather be hated than ignored. So even if there's people who hate listen to the show, which people do, I mean, that's been proven throughout time in radio. Some people will hate listen. But no, I mean, I think Mike genuinely likes me and enjoys. There's actually, I do hear from people who are very pro-Trump, but they like me anyway, even though I spend a lot of time picking on the president. I mean, and but I think all my, I think all the picking on the president that I do and whatever criticism of, I try to keep it very, very mature and thoughtful.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much. United States.
I try not to do anything too lowbrow. But anyway, so people like Rocky Huber. Hi, Rocky, if you're listening. Rocky sent me a very kind Facebook message earlier, saying that, he thinks we've got a great group of people around here and that we're all really good people and that he enjoys the show and that he's happy to be a part of the extended family at Matt Connarton Unleashed, even though Rocky is, from what I can tell online from his posts, he's a MAGA guy. He's pro-Trump, but he still likes the show and he likes those of us here. But the thing is, so Mike Doyle, when he calls, and this is not, again, because I like Mike personally very much. So, and he actually hung out on the show with me one day. He stayed for the full 2 hours, and that was a lot of fun. And Mike, if you're listening, you're welcome anytime to come in on the show. And we had a great discussion that day, I thought. But I do feel that Mike really misunderstands me in a couple of different ways. I feel that I have been misunderstood. And if Mike Doyle misunderstands me, I'm sure there are other MAGA people out there, some pro-Trump people, who also have misunderstood me. So, and again, some of you do get it, but some of you, I think, misunderstand me and my intentions and so forth. So I want to talk a little bit about something that Mike brought up yesterday when he called. He usually calls later in the show, so I don't know if he's even going to hear this. I don't know if he's going to listen, if he's listening right now or not. But, he brought up some things that Trump had done for the veterans and so forth, and we'll get to that in a moment. But so Mike usually ends the call on a very flattering note, but he usually starts the call saying something that I find insulting. Not that it hurts my feelings. I mean, look, I expect that kind of thing in a gig like this, even though I am a very sensitive man. I actually am kind of sensitive in a lot of ways, but not when it comes to this and anything related to the show. I don't take anything personally. I really don't. But Mike will call and say something about, I hear you ripping on Trump again and saying this and saying that. And, you sound like CNN. You're just like CNN. And, that's all you want to do because you hate Trump so much. And it's like, there's a couple of problems with that. and it actually does genuinely bother me when he says that to me, and I do genuinely find it insulting. Again, I'm not really offended. But it is, I do take it as an insult for a couple of reasons. For one thing, well, let's clarify this. I don't hate the president. I don't really hate much of anybody. I mean, I'm not a hateful guy, and I know that some people think that, if they really like someone politically and you don't like that person, that means you hate that person. I don't like Donald Trump. Clearly I don't like Donald Trump. I think he's a criminal. I think he's a liar. I think he's a fraud. I think he's a con man. And I think he's bad for the country. No, I don't like him. But hate? No, I don't hate him. Hate's a different thing. Hate's a different thing. I mean, look, I think he's bad for the country, but I think he's great for my show. So there's a selfish part of me that actually adores him and is glad that he's president. Okay. So let's clarify that. I'm not a hateful guy. Okay. He says the same thing to Hopwood too, whenever Hopwood criticizes him. It's like, no, I don't hate Donald Trump. And also a few details to clarify here. Also, I would remind everybody, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. And I'm sure that, in the eyes of Mike Doyle and many other people, some of you probably think that, no, I'm really a Democrat. I'm just pretending to be an independent. I'll tell you this, and I've said this before, and some of you will believe me, especially those of you who know me personally, and some of you won't. And to those of you who don't believe what I'm about to tell you, that's fine. You don't have to. I know it's true. I don't particularly care if you believe it or not. But I will say this. I am an independent, and there are many, many reasons why I'm an independent. And one of the reasons, and when I say there's many reasons, literally, if I made a list, I could probably write down 20 distinct reasons why I cannot be a part of either party. Okay. At the end of the day, I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust professional politicians. I got a lot of problems with conservatism, and we have a conservative Republican president. I don't know if he's really a conservative or if he just pretends to be, to curry favor with his base. I don't know if this guy has any actual core convictions or not. I suspect that he doesn't. Okay? But, this is who is in charge. We have a Republican president who behaves largely like a conservative. We have a Republican-controlled Senate. That's who's in charge. So I spend a lot of time criticizing conservatives. But the part that I know, and some of you will believe me and some of you will not, take this and do with it what you will. But I know that if Hillary Clinton had won the election in 2016, I would be coming in here every day looking for things to rip on about Hillary Clinton. And some of you might be listening to me going, oh, why is Matt such a Republican? Why is he so anti-Hillary? Granted, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun because Hillary Clinton is not the colorful character that Donald Trump is. But I got plenty of problems with Hillary Clinton, and I'm sure I would have plenty of problems with a Hillary Clinton presidency. I didn't vote for either of these people. I vote third party whenever possible, which some people like to guilt trip me about, but I don't care, And I heard plenty of it in 2016 when I said, no, I'm voting for Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson. And all my Republican friends would be like, why are you going to vote for him? That's really just a vote for Hillary. And all my Democratic friends would be like, oh, why are you going to vote for him? That's really just a vote for Trump. So at a certain point, I just decided, well, screw y'all. I think a vote for Gary Johnson is just a vote for Gary Johnson. How's that? But it is a vote against the two-party system, which I loathe for all kinds of reasons. And I would also say, and again, You can believe me or not when I tell you. I have no way to prove it, right? I have no way to whisk us all away for a few minutes and spend some time in an alternative universe or an alternate universe, right? In some sort of alternate reality where Hillary Clinton is president and just, do my show in that reality for a few minutes just to prove to everybody, look, I'm picking on Hillary. I have no way to prove it to you. And if you don't believe me, you don't believe me, and that's fine. I know it's true. And those who really know me and know how I feel know that it's true. Okay? So do with that what you want. But I would actually, in fact, I would find it very necessary to find things to criticize. Because I don't think it's particularly productive to be anybody's cheerleader. I don't think in a truly healthy, vibrant, vital political system, not that I'm suggesting that our political system is, I'd say in some ways it is vibrant and it has a certain vitality to it, but it's not healthy in a lot of ways, okay? But I do believe in a truly healthy, vibrant, vital political system. It doesn't really accomplish much. And again, this is one of the things I hate about the two-party system. It doesn't accomplish a whole lot to be a cheerleader for anybody, even if you like that particular politician. I believe that in a truly healthy political system, you should be, if you support a particular candidate and that candidate wins election, you should be the first to criticize them when they're screwing up. Yes, sing their praises when they do things that you like, when they accomplish things that you like, but you should also be the first to get in their faces and hold them accountable and say, wait a minute, when they're screwing up and you know they're screwing up, you should be the first to get in their faces and say, wait a minute, I voted for you. I expect you to conduct yourself in a certain way because I voted for you. I trusted you with my vote and my support. And that is something, and that's one of the things that makes me nuts about our political system in this country, our two-party binary system. Because ideological partisanship trumps, no pun intended, I promise you, there just isn't a better word. Ideological partisanship trumps everything else, including critical thinking skills and, just basic cognitive thought. Everything is about partisanship. So everyone pretends when somebody on their own side is screwing up, everybody looks the other way. You see it with Trump, MAGA people, and it's not just, I'm not just picking on Republicans, so hang on a second, but MAGA people, of course, and I've never seen anything like it. Like, if you're a Republican, most of you, as far as I can tell, have absolutely accepted Trump as your personal Lord and Savior. And there is nothing this man can ever do that will upset you. Not all of you, most of you. But you see the same thing on the left as well. We saw the same thing during the Obama administration. And I voted for Obama in 2008. I did not do so in 2012, but in 2008 I did. And I happen to like some things about Obama, but there were also some things I had some problems with. And so I started this show originally as a podcast, and I would talk every week on the show about things that I thought Obama was doing wrong, because there were some things I had a problem with. I had a problem with the fact that, the very people who got us into that, who helped kick off the Great Recession, people who did some clearly criminal things on Wall Street and in other areas of the financial sector, hardly, not literally no one, but hardly anyone was prosecuted. Hardly anyone went to jail. If anything, most of them were put right back in charge. And Obama just kind of shrugged all that off. And by the way, who financed his campaign in 2008? Oh, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. I would have loved to have seen a member of the media ask President Obama about that, but of course no one did. And most Obama supporters I know couldn't have cared less. They just shrug it off. Doesn't matter. So it happens on the left as well. Trump is an extreme example of it. I've never seen anything like with Trump. I mean, most Republicans I know, they don't just like Trump or appreciate some of his policies. Most Republicans I know are just deeply in love with him. It's like nothing I've ever seen in my lifetime. So Trump is an extreme example of that, but it does happen on the left as well. And it drives me nuts. And I say, if you vote for somebody, yeah, sing their praises when they do right. But when they do wrong, you should be the first ones to get in their face because you gave them your vote. You supported them. So you should hold them accountable. But it doesn't work that way in the American political system. But again, just to kind of circle back, I'm telling you, I don't hate Trump. I didn't vote for either one of them. But no matter who is president, you know, I've become a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard, okay? But should a Tulsi Gabbard presidency transpire, and we'll get to her later, and this thing with Hillary, because we know a little bit more about what's been going on here. But should a Tulsi Gabbard presidency transpire, I guarantee you, which is not going to happen, I know, but if it were to, if some miracle were to happen and she were to be elected president, I guarantee you, I would be not only singing her praises when she did things that I liked, but I would be the first one to come on this show every day and say, you know what? I voted for her, I supported her, but there's some things she needs to fix. And here's where I think she's screwing up. And A, B, C, and D. Here's the list. And I would bang that drum every day. And it's not, and some people might take that wrong and think, oh, so Matt, no matter who's in charge, you're just going to come in every day and do a negative show and just be critical. No, it's not about being negative. It's not even about being critical. It's about holding people accountable. Because that's something we don't do in this country. We hold 50% of the people accountable. And you all know what I mean when I say that. If you're a Republican, you know, I mean, my God, you know, if Barack Obama even, you know, sneezed the wrong way, there were Republicans who wanted to impeach Obama, right? If you're a Republican, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but I'm just making a point, right? For 8 years, Republicans would, you know, be furious about anything Obama did or Hillary Clinton. How many Benghazi hearings did we have? I think it's well into the double digits. I'm talking about separate sets of hearings. You know, Republicans are all about holding Democrats accountable, but these same Republicans believe that Donald John Trump is a paragon of virtue and that everything's a witch hunt, right? But it also goes the same in reverse. You know, Democrats, of course, they're trying to impeach Trump. They're trying to hold everybody accountable, as I believe they should. Accountability is important. I support the impeachment inquiry. But they don't care about anything their own do. Of course not. No, they're all just angels walking the earth, aren't they? All the Democrats. So what happens is, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're only interested in holding 50% of politicians accountable. The other 50% get a free pass. Well, that doesn't work for me. You know, and that's another one of the reasons why I'm an independent. So, you know, Mike Doyle or whoever else, you know, you can think all you want to that I hate Trump. I don't hate Trump. But I'm going to come in here every day and I'm going to hold him accountable in my own way, the best way that I know. And if a Democrat wins in 2020, I'm going to hold that Democrat accountable every day. You know, if I still have the show at that point, which hopefully I will, I'm going to come in every day and I'm going to hold that Democrat accountable. And when I see that Democrat screwing things up, which they will, because there's no pleasing me, which again, that's another reason why I'm an independent, right? Because both conservatism and liberalism have a whole hell of a lot of things wrong with them, in my opinion. And libertarianism as well, also very flawed in some ways. So there's no pleasing me at the end of the day. But, well, maybe at the very end of the, you know what I mean. Well, I'm thinking of the other show that I do. That's a very, well, kind of an inside joke. Some of you will get it. But the point is, I'm interested in holding people accountable. And if you think I'm tough on Trump, I'd be tough on anybody. Trump gives me a lot to work with because I personally think Trump is awful. I do. I don't hide it. It's an opinion show. You know, this is not some sort of, straight news show where, I just come in and report the news. Anybody can do that. Set up a little teleprompter and read a newscast from it. No, I'm going to call it like I see it. And I see a lot wrong with this president. But the other thing is, and this is the other part of what Mike Doyle says when he calls, and he reiterated it yesterday. The part that I do find insulting, and again, he ends the call with a compliment. He does. He ends the call saying, great show. I might not agree with you, but I think it's a great show, and I think it's a stimulating discussion, okay? But when he says, oh, you're just, you've been watching CNN. You just sound like CNN. That is an insult. I absolutely take that as an insult. Because, and a lot of MAGA people will do that, right? There's this attitude among Trumpers that if you don't accept Donald Trump as your personal Lord and Savior, it's because your mind has been overtaken by CNN and the liberal media. And I find that the condescension in that attitude is really bothersome to me because whether you want to believe it or not, I got news for you. I don't really watch much CNN or MSNBC, not anymore. I don't really watch a lot of cable news. I do a lot of reading, okay? And I draw my own conclusions because I don't need the media to tell me what to think. I explore liberal media, conservative media, just hard news media, all kinds of media, right? I like to subject myself to a lot of different viewpoints. As an independent, I have a little bit of flexibility to do that because, again, if I were a liberal or a conservative, my tendency would probably be to just, everybody likes to be in their bubble. And people love confirmation bias. People love it. They thrive on it. They love to only subject themselves to media that reinforces their already in their own minds well-established opinions. They love that. They love that sort of intellectual pat on the back that says, you're right about everything, and I'm right about everything, and we all agree about everything. Isn't that great? I mean, that's the whole point of conservative talk radio. Again, not to pick on conservatives, but that isn't a prime example, right? Most conservative talk radio shows, you have a conservative talk radio host who only takes calls from conservative talk radio listeners and only has on conservative guests, and everybody agrees, and it's a big conservative CJ. And if you don't know what CJ stands for, you can probably figure it out. It involves sitting in a circle, but I don't want to say the actual word because I don't think I'm supposed to, the actual phrase. On terrestrial FM radio. There might be children listening, but it is. It's a big conservative CJ. It's like, yay, we all agree. It's a giant celebration of, you ever listen to these shows like Howie Carr, who is my competitor locally in this market on FM radio? It's a giant, what is his show like? 3 hours? Just a giant 3-hour celebration of groupthink. Yay, we all think exactly the same thing. Blech. That's so boring to me. A bunch of people sitting around agreeing with each other and reinforcing each other's ideas. And maybe that's why some of the people who do disagree with me, and this is something I appreciate about Mike Doyle, even though he insults me with the CNN comment, because I do find that insulting, because I do have a mind of my own. I don't just regurgitate what CNN tells me. Sorry, buddy. I have my own brain. I have my own thoughts. I draw my own conclusions. I am able to critically think and discern information. However, maybe one of the reasons why someone like Mike does enjoy the show is because he enjoys that I challenge what he thinks. So, and again, I appreciate that. I appreciate that tremendously, whether it's Mike, whether it's Rocky, who is very complimentary and seems to genuinely love the show, even though I know he's a Trump guy. And I've had other people say that to me as well. I've had several people actually say to me, Matt, I disagree with most of what you say, but for some odd reason, I enjoy the way you say it, even though I don't agree with you. So, but, and Mike will say things like, well, you don't want to give Trump credit for anything. Well, that's not true. And I know that Mike probably is not able to, the show's on for 2 hours, weekdays 4 to 6. Mike probably isn't, Rocky just sent me a Facebook message that looks interesting. I'll have to click that in a minute. Thanks, Rocky. I know Mike probably isn't able to listen to every minute of the show, but, and I genuinely mean this. I'm being sincere. I know sometimes I can be sarcastic and I have a very dry sense of humor, but I mean this in all sincerity. I actually genuinely enjoy those moments where I can give Trump credit for something where I agree with him. And those things have happened. They've been few and far between. But those things... What? Is that true? Rocky just sent me something very interesting. We'll come back to it. But when those things happen, when I can actually give Trump credit for something that I agree with, I enjoy those moments. I don't want to be just negative on him all the time. I really don't. I've said on the show before, and we'll get to the thing, that Mike called about yesterday specifically. We'll get to that in a moment. But, and again, like I said, I know Mike can't listen to every minute of the show every day, so sometimes he misses it. But, one example is when Trump signed into law criminal justice reform. The thing that Jared Kushner worked on with Van Jones, and it was bipartisan, and Trump signed it into law. The First Step Act. I thought that was great. Love it. I gave Trump great credit for that. And sincerely. Or when, I wish this would happen more often, but when Kim Kardashian went to him and said, hey, can we get this woman out of jail? She got pinched for selling drugs or whatever, but she got a ridiculous sentence. Can we do something for, and he did. And he did something. I thought that was great. That needs to be a hell of a lot more of that. That's a drop in the bucket. Because if you're a longtime listener, I oppose the drug war anyway. And there's no reason, even if you're pro-drug war, you're never going to justify to me, well, you're never going to justify to me anyway because I oppose the drug war, but you're never going to make a strong case for why someone, who gets caught selling some cannabis should be in prison for 2 decades. It's nuts. The whole thing is nuts anyway, but anyway, the point being, I actively look for things to compliment Trump on, and I see the Trump presidency. This is part of what bums me out about the Trump presidency. I did have high hopes in that I thought there was a unique opportunity for Donald Trump to be a uniter and not a divider, to be, even though he was elected as a Republican, to be more of an independent kind of president. And there was evidence in terms of his own party affiliations over the years, which have not been consistently Republican. If you didn't know that, he hasn't always been a Republican. But, there was reason, I thought, I guess I was naive, right? But there was reason, I thought, to believe that there was a chance that he could be actually good for the country and good for the political system and bring people together, and then it turns out we found out pretty quick, no, he just insults everybody who disagrees with him and is a bully. And now he's calling, we'll get to it, but I just saw an article on Mediaite today. I guess he's calling Republicans who disagree with him, those few unicorns out there who are actually willing to stand up to him. The Never Trumpers, he's calling them human scum. It's just like, dude, relax. Insulting people does not win them over. Clearly, Donald Trump never read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He's a bully. But I genuinely enjoy those moments where I can find things. And again, this is what Mike Doyle gets all wrong about me. He says, oh, you don't want to look behind the curtain. No, show me something. And Mike did send me an email, by the way. And then I did some research on my own because I wasn't clear on what the sources were in what the email Mike was sending me. And that does matter to me. I mean, you know, if you send me an article that says, God has officially endorsed Trump for 2020, and then I look at the source and it came from redstate.com, I'm going to be like, I don't know if the person who wrote this article actually talked to God. I'm skeptical of the source. You know what I mean? I'm just using that as a hyperbolic example. Mike Doyle did not send me any such article. I'm just saying, the sources matter to me. So we'll get to that in a moment. But we have a call. But we'll get to what Mike wanted me to look at, and with validity, by the way. And I will say some nice things about Trump in a minute. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, man, it's Mike Doyle. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. I don't think I've ever heard from you this early in the show, but you must have been listening.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I wanted to give you a break so you can get a drink because you're on a roll with your monologue. 2, I consider you a friend, so I won't throw that CNN because I think that hit a nerve, and I apologize for that. And 3, I think if you took a poll, because something you just said really, really struck a note with me. I think if you asked 2 specific questions to Republicans, I think you would be shocked at the answers. And the 2 questions would be, 1, do you like what President Trump is doing? And the other question would be, do you like Donald Trump? And I think you'd be surprised. Are you still there?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised at the answer. Because I think more people do not like how non-presidential he can be. Because he's not a politician. He tries to be, but he tries to be this jokester and bad jokes and nicknames. Mm-hmm. And nobody likes that. When he told John McCain he wasn't a hero, I cringed.
Yeah.
I said, what an ass.
Yeah.
What a jerk he is for saying that.
Right.
But if you conflate the 2, I'd love to know what the poll would say if you said, do you like Donald Trump as a person and as a presidential person, and do you like Donald Trump's policies of, trying to help with the unemployment and the 2 million more manufacturing jobs and the stock market and the gas prices and whatever, trying to get, and I think, and what he did for the veterans, I think the 2, you'd see a very different answer. And I would be one of those that would have a hard time with the second question. Of what do you think of Donald Trump as a presidential candidate? Because sometimes he just says the stupidest things.
Right.
But I try to parse that and to put it together with what I think he's trying to do for the country. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you can understand that. That dynamic of 2 different people. Because I don't think all MAGA people just love Donald Trump. I think more often they just love what he's trying to do or switching to, I think that's what it is. But it'd be an interesting poll to take sometime to say, do you like what he's doing or do you like him as a person? I think you'd find pretty different answers.
Well, you might be right.
Yeah. Because when I hear your parodies, the song parodies,
yeah,
I think they're hilarious. I listen to it, I go, those are talented people that can rhyme and play the guitar and put the music together and crap on Trumpy a little bit. And it's a talent,
right?
Obviously,
right.
And I do love them.
Yeah.
Do they get under my skin a little bit because you play a lot of them? You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to lean the other way, but. Don't forget, that's all good. So I guess the basis of my call is just to tell you, you have a show that does stimulate people.
Yes.
And it stimulates conversation, like you talked with your dad the other day, or when you talk with Hopwood, or when people call up, you have doctors on you. That's all great stuff. That's what people want to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little mix of everything. Try to mix, that. So I don't know. You have a great show. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, I appreciate
that. I apologize for the CNN line. I didn't mean it to be something that would trigger any kind of negative response.
That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate that, Mike. No worries. And I consider you a friend as well. So I appreciate that.
You do a great job, man. You do if it's stimulating people like me, then you're doing your job.
Oh, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. All right, man. Good job. Thanks.
All right, brother. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, that was Mike Doyle. And I would have liked to have actually, I would have liked to have talked to Mike a little more about what he was saying about the poll thing, but the phone connection wasn't that great. I mean, hopefully everyone heard what he said. I mean, I could hear him clearly enough, but it wasn't, it wasn't too good a connection. So I figured I'd wait until after the call to kind of chew on one thing that Mike said about the poll thing, which is an interesting point. And by the way, and in fairness to Mike, he has been very critical of Trump on certain things in terms of how Trump conducts himself. But not everyone is. It's interesting, but we'll get into that in a second. We have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Jeff Skumpi Lorenz.
Jeff Skumpi Lorenz. How are you, sir?
I am very good. I see you talking to Mike Doyle, and, me and you are great friends also.
Yes.
And, I'm a Trump guy.
Yes.
But I've always been an independent.
Yeah.
I just like what he's doing. I like that he's a businessman. I like my 401ks. He's going crazy still. Went down a little bit, but it's still going crazy.
That's good. Yeah.
And I got some big news to broadcast tomorrow on the morning show.
Really?
I don't know if I should give it to you. I think I'll wait for Peter White, but there's some big news on the way.
Okay.
For Jeff Skumpi Lorenz.
Okay. Is Trump, let me see if I can guess. Is Trump dumping Mike Pence and picking you up?
No.
Okay. Well.
I got you in the election, man.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Okay.
You're going to be chief of staff.
Oh, I thought, I wanted to be. Well, Mick Mulvaney might be on his way out now, so, oh my God, Skumpi, that's right. There might be another opportunity.
I just talked to him. He just called me a few minutes ago.
Oh.
And I said I got the man for the job.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, Mick Mulvaney's loss is going to be my gain, thanks to Skumpi.
That's right.
All right.
No, this is serious. That's not the news, but I think I got to save for the morning show. But I was listening, and I know that I love you. We're good friends, compadres now, and
yes,
you come to see my shows. It's beautiful, and there's no reason for people to be separated because someone loves Trump or someone hates him. I don't love him. I don't hate him, but I back him because he's my president. You have a lot of negative things to say about him, but there's a lot of positives too. If you listen to Mike Doyle, same thing. There's a lot of good things going on in this country right now, and I just think everyone should back him. And that's all I got to say.
All right.
And the big news tomorrow morning. Big news tomorrow morning.
What time will you be? Are you going to be announcing this at the top of the show tomorrow, or?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Probably between 7 and somewhere between 7 and 9. Keep people with dial in.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Always enjoy you on the morning show with Peter White. Always good.
And do not forget, we're doing the big Halloween party this Saturday, the 26th, at the Gagnon Snowshoe Club. And that one's usually huge. There's going to be a lot of people there. There's prizes, big prizes for costumes. This is usually a real good show.
Excellent. Very good at the Davion,
so
yes.
I wanted to plug that also.
Okay.
It should be fantastic.
Excellent. And will you be wearing snowshoes?
I think that's our... we were thinking about that. Wearing snowshoes, but you know what? It's too hard to move around with those things.
That's true, yes.
I might wear one on my head.
Right. Like a...
Say, look, it's a snowshoe club. Okay.
There you go. Yes. All right, Skumpi. Well, that sounds great. So we'll be tuning in tomorrow.
All right. Very good, man. And, yep. And the 26th, Saturday night. 8 o'clock start.
Saturday
8
night.
to 12.
Saturday night at the Davion. Yes. Excellent. All right, Skumpi. Well, maybe, you might see us there. We'll see.
Yeah, stop in for a set. It'd be great. It's right down the street. It's, it's right there in town.
Right.
Should be good.
Okay. Yeah. I've never been there. That would be interesting. All right. Yeah, we'll see.
That'd be cool to see you, man. It'd be real cool to see you.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'll see Peter White there. I doubt it. In fact, maybe I should give you the news now because Peter. Well, you know what? Oh, maybe I should. Let's see.
Nah, do it.
I don't know.
You do
maybe
it.
I'll wait till next week and then announce the big news.
Ah.
See who shows up at the show. Whoever shows up at the show gets the big news.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Oh, boy. Putting pressure on the Peter White, ain't I?
Yes. Well, maybe you can. Well, you'll see him tomorrow. Maybe you can talk him into going.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe if you send a limo for him.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow morning, and I love you, Matt. And,
you too, man.
Rock and roll.
All right, Skumpi. Thank you for the call, my friend.
All right, peace.
All right, bye-bye. All right, the great Jeff Skumpi Lorenz and his band DEF CON. I'm very curious about what his announcement is. His announcement, I'm going to guess it doesn't have to do with the band. I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess it does not have to do with his band DEF CON, but has to do with his acting career. Because he's been doing really well with his acting career. He's got a lot of cool things going on with that. So, but yeah, it's better that he makes the announcement in the studio. So he'll actually physically be here tomorrow on the morning show. Because when he makes the announcement, everyone needs to be able to hear him clearly too. Because almost makes me wonder if there's something wrong with the studio phone. Because the connection on his call wasn't that great either. Probably a coincidence, but it's just weird. Like Mike's call, the connection was, it was good enough, but not great. And the same with Skumpi. I could pretty much hear everything that he said, but it wasn't as clear as it usually is. It does kind of make me wonder. It's probably a coincidence. So, isn't it amazing with all this technology and as far as we've come with cell phones, everybody has a smartphone now. We're all walking around with basically these little computers in our pockets. And yet, so often, you make a call on your cell phone or you get a call on your cell phone, and even as advanced as the technology is, so often the connection is still kind of crappy. I know, and it depends on probably how close you are to a cell phone tower and all this stuff, but it's weird that, I'm sure eventually the day will come where every call on every phone is just perfectly clear and crisp and, but probably not in our lifetimes. It'll be after we're all dead. And then phone service will finally be perfect. So I see some stuff going on in the Facebook live chat. I'll get to you guys in a moment, I promise. I see Ben and Mark in there. And just bear with me because I want to. There was something that Mike said, and I know we're past the top of the hour. We'll take a break soon. Actually, we're getting another call. Let's grab this. It's a busy day, which is good. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, Skumpi again.
Oh,
hey, I know you're at the top of the hour.
This is
I want you to put on, if you can put on Strutter.
Oh, you want
Kiss?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be strutting, baby.
All right. I'm gonna be. I'm not taking the break yet because I got to finish something up, but I will be taking it soon, and I will play that for you, Skumpi. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'll listen.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, peace.
All right, bye-bye. Yes, for those who don't know, Kiss is my favorite band, and we kind of have a tradition. Usually it's when Skumpi's actually in studio, but once in a while he'll just call and ask if I can play a Kiss song, which I'm always happy to do. I'm always looking for an excuse to play a Kiss song because they are my favorite band. So I'll play Strutter in a couple minutes, but I want to finish up on this. And I guess the phone here is fine because that last call from Skumpi, the connection was perfect. I could hear him very clearly. So, the thing that I wanted to chew on that Mike Doyle said a little bit was, he said, if you took a poll, like if you asked Trump supporters these two questions, number one, do you like what Trump is doing? And number two, do you like Trump, in terms of how he conducts himself and whatnot? Mike said, you might be surprised. I don't know, because here's the thing. When I look at social media, which is not to say, this is not scientific at all, right? This is anecdotal, and this is just a matter of my impression looking at social media. And social media can be very, very toxic. So maybe my perception has been skewed in a negative way on this. So Mike might be right. I might be completely wrong. But the reason that when I say most Republicans I know don't just like Trump, they're deeply in love with him, is because on social media, man, like people I know personally, not that everyone I'm connected to on social media I actually know personally. I have probably thousands of Facebook friends I've never met, as I'm sure is the case with many of us. But people seem to love a lot of people on social media seem to love that Trump is rude and says awful things and is unpresidential, and they seem to revel in it. And the John McCain thing, Mike brought up John McCain, and to Mike's credit, he thought it was disgusting what Trump said about John McCain. And like I said, Mike, to his credit, he's not shy about criticizing Trump when he thinks he's screwing up, which I think is good. But a lot of people, even the McCain thing, like when Trump started to really go negative on McCain, a lot of Republicans were like, it was like high school. It was like Trump's the captain of the football team, and he tells everybody in his clique, oh, I don't like that guy anymore, so now you can't like him either. And then everybody in his clique says, oh, okay, I guess we don't like that guy anymore. And all of a sudden, all these Republicans on social media are talking about what a scumbag John McCain is as soon as Trump starts ripping on him. So my perception, maybe Mike is right, and I hope that he is, because, again, my perception, it's not scientific at all. It's not the result of any polling, right? It's just my perception on social media, on Facebook in particular, when I look at the way people, many, many people who I know personally, the way they react to Trump, not just to Trump's policies that they agree with, but the way he conducts himself, the way he insults people. When Trump was in North Carolina and he brought up Ilhan Omar's name, and all of a sudden you've got this entire Coliseum full of people chanting, send her back, which to me was, I mean, if you don't get what's racist about that, I can't help you, right? I'm not even going to try to explain it to you. But then I see on social media all these Republicans who are like, oh, wasn't that a great moment? And it's like, oh my God. But it may very well be that Mike is correct, and it's just the people who I'm seeing on social media, they are the loudest and most obnoxious, but they're not necessarily a true reflection of how a majority of Republicans feel. So I don't know. I do know that the browser on this computer here seems to be freezing up. I might have to open Facebook on this other computer because I do want to get to these comments. Here's what we'll do. Let's take oh, wait a minute. Okay. Oh, it's starting to, a whole bunch of stuff disappeared. All right, let's go through these comments, and then I want to get to the thing, what Mike brought up yesterday about veterans. And what Mike brought up is valid, by the way. But let's hit these comments quickly, and then we'll take the break, and I'll play Strutter for Skumpi. So Ben Tomo in the Facebook live chat says, woo, Trump for life. Rocky Huber joins us in the Facebook live chat. I am going to look at what you sent me, Rocky. I'll probably look at that during the break, and then we'll get to that afterward. Mark Smith from the Abstract Transmissions podcast joins us. Mark says, agreed what that guy said. Good to have people come together. I assume referring to what Skumpi was saying. Mark also says Yang is a pretty solid businessman, though, right? And significantly more logical. Yes, Andrew Yang, of course, one of the Democrats running for president. By the way, a lot of Republicans seem to be interested in Andrew Yang. I've noticed, and my dad even said this. When my dad called the other day, he mentioned two Democrats that he actually does like. One of them is Tulsi Gabbard, whom I like and who a lot of Republicans actually seem to like, which is interesting. And the other one is Andrew Yang. And I saw Andrew Yang interviewed by Ben Shapiro. And I don't think Yang necessarily won Shapiro totally over with the universal basic income concept, but I did notice the way he explained it to Ben Shapiro. Shapiro did seem at least intrigued by the idea, which surprised me. And my dad surprised me. My dad apparently supports UBI, which I did not see that coming. But there is, even if you're a fiscal conservative, there is an interesting argument for it. But I know Mark Smith is a big, he's part of the Yang gang. But what did Yang say in one of the debates? He said, I'm the opposite of Donald Trump. I'm an Asian who likes math. Rocky Huber says, so I was browsing Facebook and stumped upon Hard G's page and discovered he's celebrating his son's birthday. And then, oh, well, what a scandal. Eazy-G or Hard G, Eric Gagnon has a son? I thought he was childless. Oh, well, we'll get more into that shortly. Rhonda Favero joins us in the Facebook live chat. Mark says, I'm with you on this, Matt. I already know where you're going. Mark says it's not skewed. So I guess Mark is agreeing with my perception based on what I see on social media that most Republicans actually like the way Trump behaves. Mark says most of us libertarians do not like Trump. Yeah, you know what's interesting about that, Mark, though? You bring that up. I have been, hello to Christian Collins, who joins us on Facebook. I have been genuinely shocked, though, at how many libertarians do like Trump. And I don't get it. Because there's nothing libertarian to me about Trump. I mean, how is Trump any less of a statist than any other Republican or Democrat? So I don't know what the draw is there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of libertarians, of course, don't like Trump. Mark says, John McCain was kind of a mask reveal for Republicans for sure. Mark says it's racist for sure, referring, I assume, to my comments about what happened at that North Carolina rally where Trump brought up Ilhan Omar, and then you got all these people chanting, send her back. Send her back where? She's an American citizen and has been for 2 decades. I know, I said I wasn't going to try to explain why it's racist, but there I go. Mark says Republicans, libertarians, disaffected Trump supporters, and no voters altogether. Shapiro is Yang Gang now, LOL, not admittedly. Stephen Philbrook joins us in the Facebook live chat. And Mark says, I know it's sad, MAGA status. Oh, mega statist, referring to Trump and how some libertarians actually like him. So, this computer is frustrating me. Let me see if I can open this up on the other computer. So, I want to, before we take our break, because I want to move on to some other things afterwards, so I want to put the bow on this. The thing that Mike Doyle was talking about yesterday at the end of the show, he was talking about, he made a suggestion. He said, if you Google what has Trump done for veterans, you'll find a series of things, and said that Trump has done more for veterans than I think any other president or whatnot. Mike did say something about that. And what I said is, well, I do know of one thing. There was one thing that Mike brought up that I knew right off the bat, and that was that Trump signed into law debt forgiveness for, college loans, education loans for veterans. Excuse me. So if you're a veteran and you have college debt, that is wiped clean, if I understand. I mean, I'm sure the way the law is written, it's more complicated than that because that's the nature of things. But basically, as I understand it, and I support that. And I did, and Mike may not have heard it when I talked about that on the show originally, because I think that was at least a few months ago. But I did talk about that on the show, and that was something I complimented Trump on for signing that into law. My position is anything that we can do for veterans, we should be doing, because it is shameful. And my dad's a veteran, by the way. My dad's a Vietnam veteran. So I've seen this up close. And it is so shameful the way we treat veterans in this country. The fact that we have veterans who are homeless, the fact that we have veterans who commit suicide because they aren't getting the help that they need. So many veterans who fall through the cracks, not getting the care that they need, whether it be mental or physical. It is maddening. And it makes me furious, and it should make everyone furious. Unfortunately, it's also one of those issues that I don't think is on anyone's top 5 list of issues that they care about. And usually the only time people care a lot, where they're really focused on it, and which forces our politicians to focus on it, is when there's some major scandal, some big VA scandal or something, like what happened at Walter Reed years ago, where it was found that the conditions were, there were veterans in there in beds in squalor, or what has happened in the past at the Manchester VA here locally. Other than that, everyone kind of forgets, and it's awful. So there's a couple of other things too that Trump has signed into law. And again, I am happy to give him credit for these things, because these are things that should be being done. But let's grab this call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Eazy-G. Real quick, what happened is I pressed the wrong button when I was on Facebook.
Huh?
So if you scroll down, I'm not celebrating my son's birthday. I don't have a son. I pressed the wrong button when I posted something.
You don't have a son?
No, I don't. No. As you can see down below, it says I made a mistake. I said no children.
Where is this, Eazy-G? What are you talking about? On your Facebook page?
Yeah. I was just posting. Are you excited about the new Boston Celtics season? I know you're not a big sports fan, but the Celtics season starts tonight, and then I wanted to press a button that says celebrating, and I pressed the wrong one.
Do you wish you...
I hardly post anything on Facebook anymore, so I was a little rusty.
Do you wish you had a son to bring to the Celtics game?
No, I don't. Not really.
Do you feel that if you did have a son, that it would interfere with your Playboy lifestyle?
No, but if I had a son, I guess I could bring him to the Celtics game, yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice of you.
Fun, yeah.
So you wouldn't be like a deadbeat dad. You'd actually bring your kid places?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't have any children, so there isn't any.
That you know of. Ha ha ha.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because you are a sexy
All right, I'll
boy.
let you go.
All right,
have a great
Eazy-G.
show.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was Eazy-G.
I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
He's just a sexy boy. He's not your boy toy. All right. Anyway, so Eazy-G does not have a son. I think he protests too much. It's all right, Eazy-G. I think Eazy-G would be a great dad. Except with the whole anabolic steroids. That probably doesn't set the best example. Okay, so let's see. So we talked about, again, I give Trump credit for signing into law the debt forgiveness. There was something else. And I looked these up myself. Mike Doyle did send me an email. The only problem is I couldn't tell in the email what the sources were from some of the things. So I kind of wanted to just look them up separately to make sure they were coming from websites that, I thought looked credible. Because you have to be careful. Because there is such a thing as fake news, certainly. So stateofreform.com, and this, I was able to confirm this other places too. There's something called the Mission Act, which seeks to provide more health care options for veterans. So Trump signed that into law. I'm not going to get into all the weeds of it, but basically, I am 100% in favor of whenever possible, which should be at all times. I'm a firm believer that any veteran should be able to go wherever they want to for health care and be taken care of. And so anything that improves their options to do so is a great thing. So I support the Mission Act. That's something that Trump signed into law, so that's good. Let's see. There was also something here. Now, this is from VA.gov. So this is from the Veterans Association official website. This was back in March. President Trump signs executive order to empower veterans and end veterans' suicide. So again, I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but basically, this is, well, here, there's a few bullet points here. Develop a comprehensive national public health roadmap outlining the specific strategies needed to lower effectively the rate of veteran suicide with a focus on community engagement. Design and propose to Congress a program for making grants to local communities, excuse me, which will increase their ability to collaborate with each other, integrate service delivery, and coordinate resources to veterans. And there's a third one here. Develop a national research strategy to improve the coordination, monitoring, benchmarking, and execution of research in the field of veteran suicide prevention. So that's the crux of that. So that's a great thing. Now, that was not a bill that Trump signed. That was an executive order. And we could have an argument about, whether executive orders are okay. But again, that's one of those partisan things. When a Republican signs too many executive orders, Democrats get mad. And when a Democrat is president and signs too many executive orders, Republicans get mad. But, when it's your own guy, regardless of which side you're on, you're 100% okay with it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not even worth discussing anymore. I think the whole executive order thing is just, it is what it is. But if you can do good things with it, great, rebootcamp.militarytimes.com. Okay, so this is from the Military Times. This is from back in January. Trump recently signed 2 veteran bills into law. Let's see. One of them is the Veterans Benefits and Transition Act, and the other is the Forever GI Bill Housing Payment Fulfillment Act. And this looks complicated. So we're not going to get into the weeds of what it is. But the point is, Mike Doyle was correct when he said that Trump had done several things for veterans, and he has. Now, when Mike did say Trump's done more for veterans than, I think Mike said this, that Trump's done more for veterans than any other president. I don't know if that's true. That may be true. I don't know, because, again, trying to get politicians to actually do more for veterans than just pay lip service is pretty difficult. I will say this now, though. When you do, as Mike suggested, and when you Google those words, what has Trump done for veterans, you'll find some articles like the ones that I found, but you'll also find some other articles that say, well, Trump took credit for this thing that Obama actually did, and Trump promised to do this, but he didn't do it, and this and that. So I found a mixture of things. I found some things that were kind of on the negative side, too, as far as Trump. But clearly Trump has signed some bills and an executive order that do benefit veterans. And I'm not a Trump hater. I want to be able to give him credit for these things, and I do give him credit for these things. I think these are great things. Anytime you can do anything for veterans, I don't even care how much it costs. It is worth doing. We have to take better care of our veterans in this country. And so I think these are all great. So there you go. And thank you, Mike, for bringing them to our attention. I mean, doesn't change my opinion of Trump in the macro, right? But I think these are good things. Okay, so I just opened the link, by the way, that Rocky sent. And yes, it does say Eric Gagnon is celebrating his son's birthday. Hi, who is ready for the Boston Celtics season opener tonight? And then below that, Eric wrote, an error, I have no children. Should we tell Eric he can always just edit the post? Maybe he figured that out already. Let's see. In the Facebook live chat. Why am I not able to see everything? These computers are giving me a hard time today. Stefan says UBI works. Again, that's Universal Basic Income. It has been successful in Alaska as the Alaska Permanent Fund from the oil. That's true. Yeah, they get a rebate. Alaskans, basically, if I understand it correctly, it's almost like a tax rebate that they get from the government. Or maybe it's a set amount. Oh, Stefan says, although the Alaska legislature has been cutting the dividend in half, it is still like $1,600 a year per Alaskan resident. Mark says legalization of hemp, and says, listen to all of that roadmap. It's so vague. I used to work in marketing. That's all jargon. Clarify that, Mark, if you would. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, Mark says he doesn't ever actually say anything, though it's incoherence, referring to Trump. Trump is stunningly inarticulate. I'm just so pessimistic, he says. Just look at the wording on the bill. I don't want to look at I'll start to get a headache if I try to actually read it. Mark says, skeptical that he's committed to changing anything in the military-industrial complex. Well, I do share your skepticism there, Mark, because, he talks about bringing the troops home from Syria, for example, but then it turns out, well, he's not bringing the troops home from Syria. They're actually getting sent to Saudi Arabia to help the Saudi Arabians continue to carry out their genocide in Yemen. So we're going to be even more complicit in that now than we already are. Isn't that great?